Hi, this is Will from Maxwell Chiropractic. Today we're going to talk about the rotator cuff. So if you've been diagnosed with any rotator cuff injury, minor tear, or is going through a healing process and you need to undertake some rehabilitation exercises, we're going to start off with some basics. The basics means isometrics. When we do muscle contractions, we can split them into two groups, isometrics and isotonics. Isometrics meaning that the muscle contracts but doesn't change length. Isotonics means we're contracting and moving a joint through a range of motion, so a bicep curl, a chest press, a shoulder fly, for example, so the muscles contract and move. Now, to begin with, when we're undertaking rehabilitation, particularly with the more acute injuries, such as a rotator cuff injury or shoulder injury, we want to start off with the basics. Now, often an isotonic rehab movement might be too sore for you to do, so we have to deload that, and we do that by what we call isometrics. Now, the rotator cuff is made up of 4 muscles, and all of these muscles work synergistically alongside some ligaments to create shoulder stability. They're not big prime movers, but they offer assistance and stability work. Those muscles contract and work with other muscles in different planes of movement, so abduction, external rotation, internal rotation, and such like. So we're going to try and strengthen these little planes of movement. Now, to begin with, we're going to concentrate on the most common rotator cuff injury, and that's supraspinatus. Supraspinatus sits just on the top of the scapula underneath your upper trapezius and is responsible for first few degrees of abduction of the shoulder. So we're going to mimic that movement. To begin with, we're just going to go over to the wall, and all we're going to do is we're just going to imagine we're pressing into the wall. So I'm imagining I'm pushing the wall away. Now, we want to start off with good alignment, good posture. Just keep the shoulder blades pinned back, and we're going to push. I'm imagining I'm trying to push the wall away. The amount of contraction that I'm trying to achieve is roughly around 20 to 40% of muscle activation. We do not want to try and go through full muscle activation because we're working on just stimulating a muscle contraction. I don't want to create too much of a heavy contraction because we might injure if you have a muscle tear, for example. And we're going to relax, and we're going to go again. So we'll do about 3 to 6 rounds of pressing into the wall for around 10 to 20 seconds, just like so. The next movement we're going to do, again for targeting the supraspinatus, is a sort of pressing movement, the initial stages of a press. So I'm just going to face this wall. We're just going to come up to the wall. Again, good shoulder alignment, neutral. We're not starting off rounded. We're going to just a little closed fist. I'm going to imagine I'm pushing into the wall, like so. Again, just around 20 seconds, 10 to 20 seconds worth of muscle contraction, and we're trying to press between 20, 30, 40% effort. Often when you'll do this, you'll actually feel the muscles around here contract. If you put your hand on there and you push, you can actually feel that contraction occurring in the rotator cuff muscle on the top of the shoulder. So again, we're going to do a few rounds of that. Now, the next one we're going to work on is the external rotators of your shoulder. So infraspinatus, some teres minor around the back there, and these are external rotators largely. So dead simple, this one I'm going to imagine I'm pressing, I'm externally rotating the arm, the hand outwards, and you'll notice I'm trying to keep my elbow pinned in by my side. I'm not trying to do this. If my arm comes away, I'm going to start to recruit other external rotator muscles around the posterior chain. And for the purpose of this, I'm trying to isolate those key rotator cuff muscles. So again, we're just going to come up to the wall, good posture, good alignment, and now I'm pretending I'm doing this action, like so. I'll just demonstrate on this side as well. So again, good posture, shoulders back, neutral spine. I'm pushing, so I'm pretending I'm doing this action while keeping my elbow inwards. Again, we're going for 20, 30, 40% effort. If it's a bit sore, just back it off slightly. If you can do a bit more, that's great. And we're holding for about 10 to 20 seconds. We can also just work on a little bit of extension of the shoulder, and it's actually going to work a little bit of internal rotation as well in this next movement. The internal rotator muscle of the rotator cuff is called subscapularis. Now, this can get injured quite easily with throwing activities. If you press a lot, if you're in a gym environment, if you do press ups, certain bench activities, chest flies, we can actually weaken the subscapularis. If you've had any injury where the shoulder's been wrenched backwards, the subscapularis can get overly lengthened because it is an internal rotator. It's trying to resist this movement, so it will contract when the arm has been forced into this position, and that is another very common injury and rotator cuff injury, and it becomes weak. So we want to build that up. It's often quite overlooked, the subscapularis muscle, and it's a very important muscle therefore to keep strength in. So what we can do for this is we're going to just press into the wall. This is mimicking this action, internal rotation of the shoulder. So we're just going to press in. Now, you'll notice that I'm not putting my arm into this compromising position. That's going to be very difficult. If you have had a shoulder injury, that position is going to be quite challenging. This might even be challenging. If that is challenging, we can deload that by actually just bringing the arm by your side and pressing the palm as though I'm doing that against the wall, because technically this is still internal rotation. So we can strengthen that isometrically simply by pressing into the wall, and you'll definitely feel tension develop around the shoulder girdle. If that becomes easy, we can then start to just have the arm in a more compromised position, like so. A lot of people will ask, I think you can just press into the wall like this, which you definitely can, but you are likely to get a lot of pectoral activation, and this often helps to just bypass that and use the subscapularis a bit more specifically. However, if this is too painful, we can deload that position. Again, as though I'm doing this action across my body. Keep the shoulders back and just press. If we keep the shoulders back, it will actually help to take the pec activation away. If I'm rounded and I get into this posture, my pec and bicep is likely to take over the position. But if I keep the shoulders back, we can press and push into the wall, and we can activate that subscapularis muscle, that internal rotator. Again, 20, 30, 40% muscle activation, 10 to 20 second holds. We want to be repeating those cycles of exercises 2, 3, 4 times a day. We want to be trying to achieve that on average every other day is a good place to start when it comes to rehabilitation. Okay, I hope that helps. If you get any problems, any questions or concerns, please get in touch.